my lovelies, and welcome to another episode of The Art of Confident Driving. Today I would love to talk about our attitude when we're behind the wheel. So many of my students, we have a tendency to rush. Now, why do we have a tendency to rush when we're behind the wheel? Often we've watched our own parents. I hate to say it. Are mum and dad ever just relax behind the wheel? Or they always, I've got to get to the school, I've got to get to the work. You know, the parents are very rarely relaxed. We're kind of always time poor. Unfortunately, when we're growing up, we see our parents do that and we take on that same attitude. So even though we may not be rushed ourselves, when we're sitting behind the wheel, we still have that attitude rolling around in our brains. So I really would like to address that today because let me assure you, rush drivers make mistakes, myself included. If I rush, I know I'm going to make a mistake. It's just a matter of what is it going to be. Now, hopefully it's only a little one, like nudging a curb, which is not a big drama. But this is the point. Because we're rushing, we're not keeping our mind on the job of driving. We're not mindful driving. We're just, I need to do this. And we're therefore not concentrating. So I'm going to tell you a story that I tell many of my students as they're going to attempt their test, because it's really important that we get the right attitude. I'm going to tell you about the Sunday drive. Now, there will be a few of you out there who know what a Sunday drive is, but for those of you who don't, it'll change your mind about how you drive. Now, back when I was a little girl, my family, like many others, used to take a Sunday drive. And it was called that because there were practically no shops open on a Sunday. Most shops would close around lunchtime on a Saturday. And if you didn't stock up, you'd be in a bit of bother. So we all had the big panic around the Saturday morning shopping. But then Saturday afternoon, we'd be relaxed, and Sunday, we'd be going out on a Sunday drive. So we would drive out from Sydney towards the Blue Mountains and stop somewhere that was pretty, obviously with a playground to keep us kids happy, and have a picnic, or we'd just take a long drive to enjoy the scenery. There were no time constraints, so we were all just so relaxed. We didn't need to rush to work or school or any other activities. It was just a pleasurable drive. This is the attitude that I want all drivers to have, to not feel rushed. I, like all other drivers, tend to make mistakes when I'm rushing. Now, it might be that I didn't check the intersection correctly, or I missed a blind spot check, or I missed my turn because I was so concerned about rushing. And let me tell you, on the driving test, rushing through procedures can literally be the difference between passing and failing. Now, if we take our time to do things one step at a time, we will feel calmer, more in control, and we are much less likely to make mistakes behind the wheel. Now, even if we do make mistakes, that's not a problem as long as we fix them and stay calm about it. Now, how are we going to be calmer behind the wheel? All right, well, first of all, we want to plan our trip. So unlike the Sunday drive where we can just meander out wherever we want, we want to know where we're going. We want to know how to get there. Now, I will be going into more depth with this topic in one of my full lessons, but this is one of the most crucial parts of driving. As a time-poor parent, I totally understand that we don't have a lot of spare time in our days. But if we just left home 5 minutes earlier, would we feel a whole lot happier when driving to our destination, knowing if there's a bit of extra traffic along the way that we wouldn't get stressed and we wouldn't be late? Wouldn't it be nice to rock up a few minutes early so we have time to take a breath and even have a few moments to send a message to a friend saying good day, rather than feeling stressed and pressured to get to our destination on time? That alone will make you feel more confident, as you won't feel so emotional and you can focus on the job of driving. Also, when did it become a chore to drive? I found myself feeling that way the first couple of years I was driving my child to kindy and then to school. The school traffic was driving me crazy. Parents taking so many risks to get the kids to school, then trying to race to work. I really did not like it at all. I would prefer not to drive to school, but until my child is old enough to get on the bus, I am still driving. So, I can get grumpy and dislike the drive, or I can accept it, that it has to be done, and use it as an opportunity to have a chat or listen to some cool music or listen to my favourite podcast. So what I'm saying is we can choose to make it a chore and unpleasant, or we can choose to leave a few minutes early and have a pleasurable trip. It's up to us. Okay, so I have already given you some tips in this episode that we will unpack in my full driving lesson episodes. So to get access to those, please hit subscribe on your Apple device. Yes, Android is coming very soon. But I want you to feel more confident behind the wheel straight away. So I'm going to start with an often misused driving tool, the mirrors. Now, unless your vehicle has a blocked rear windscreen that you can't see out of, you should be using your central mirror or internal mirror for the bulk of your driving decisions. It is very easy to get into the habit of using your side mirrors, otherwise known as wing mirrors or external mirrors, to look behind, but they do not show the whole scene. Left only shows left and right only shows right. And worst of all, most cars have convex mirrors distorting the view. Yes, you can think it's Jurassic Park, the same thing as that big old dinosaur coming towards him. So the vehicles are indeed closer than they appear. Now, I can always tell when another driver is using the side mirrors to lane change, as they invariably choose a very small gap, where the driver they are lane changing in front of is forced to slow down, and that is not a good lane change at all. It may have even happened to you or somebody you know. It is very frustrating to be the person who has to slow down to let that person get into the lane. So I will strongly recommend that you start using your central mirror as a judge to see if the gap is big enough. And of course, remember to check your blind spot. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I have. I will be going into much more detail on the full lessons, so go ahead, hit the like and follow button and keep up to date on our socials by searching The Art of Confident Driving. I'm your host, Liz Lafferty, and I look forward to joining you again next time. Happy and safe driving, everyone.